What is the story of Napoleon Bonaparte? The story of Napoleon Bonaparte is very famous, but I'm going to go in very detail here in this topic. Now, in 1789, the French Revolution broke out, and eventually the revolutionaries quickly formed a republic. And thus, to unify the French area, they attacked the Habsburg Empire, aka the Austrian Empire. But this set off multiple different alliances, and thus set off the first coalition with Britain, the Netherlands, obviously Habsburg or Austria, Prussia, the German states, Sweden, Russia, Naples, and multiple different other states against France. Even more, multiple revolts broke out, including the great city of Toulouse, which was home to around a third of all French naval vessels. And thus a major siege began to reconquer Toulouse. Now, 24-year-old artillery commander named Napoleon Bonaparte was the only reason they won, mainly because of his great tactics. And thus, eventually, they managed to suppress all the revolts. After that, he got promoted and became the leader of the army of Italy, and then reconquered of northern Italy and defeated the Austrians in multiple different great battles. Then he headed a French invasion of Egypt, but it was a complete disaster as Admiral Nelson set fire to all of his ships, and thus he had to get back. From there, he eventually made multiple different things. He eventually led it into coup de grace and was crowned emperor. After that, he then attacked the German states and extended France to the river Rhine, dream which multiple French kings had wanted before but could have never accomplished. Then he reconverted the Netherlands into an ally and then attacked the Prussians some more. And then going south, he took over multiple different Italian states and got Naples as an ally as well. Eventually, from the Kingdom of Italy. After that, he attacked the Austrians again, and the Great Battle of Austerlitz between the Austrians, the Russians, and the French. Napoleon defeated them greatly, and his greatest victory came at a nice cost. Up north, he eventually formed the Confederation of the Rhine, and Bavaria got some land in southern Saxony. After that, he marched out north and attacked Prussia and completely destroyed them entirely. The army was shattered, and thus he formed the Duchy of Warsaw, aka modern Poland. Now, another century before, the once great Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth was followed by his neighbors with three partitions, mainly Russia, Prussia, and Austria, and thus they just wiped off the map. But now the Duchy of Warsaw being created, and a new Polish state was being created, and this was a thorn in Russia's side, but they couldn't really do much back then because they were completely shattered by Austerlitz. Eventually, he was forced to see Austria's forced to cede territories, but eventually declared war again, and he was defeated again, and was so forced to cede over even more territories. Meanwhile, lots of land of Prussia, Hanover was taken over by Napoleon and added to the Confederation of the Rhine. Sweden declared neutrality after his massive defeat with Russia, and eventually to defeating the Russians, he signed apparently an eternal alliance with them. And this kind of cemented his fate. But then in 1808, his once ally, Spain and Portugal, were at war, and he realized that he could conquer Spain instead, and thus began attack Spain, and thus this put Spain and Portugal on the same side instead, and thus the Peninsular War had started, and eventually his younger brother Joseph was struggling quite a lot in order to try and conquer Spain, and multiple efforts, but eventually he was forced to retreat back here. In 1812, Emperor Alexander of Russia was really beginning to have a very bad relation with Napoleon, and as Napoleon set out with over 6 million men to invade Russia and eventually secure the flanks. But then, just in front of Moscow, he suffered a major battle, and then once he entered Moscow, he found the entire city ablaze. Then after a few weeks there, he was forced to retreat, and thus the cold winter meant that around 2/12 of his army actually made it back to France. Now, realizing that this was much weaker, Sweden, Britain, Spain, Portugal, Prussia, and Austria all declared war on it. The chief wars effectively ceased to exist, and the Confederation was soon dissolved. So did Bavaria and Saxony. The Netherlands were invaded, and thus a battle for France itself quickly ensued, and thus Napoleon managed to make some major wins, but eventually he was forced to surrender and was just banished to the island of Elba. Now there, he eventually escaped back to France and became emperor, but 100 years after that, he made his final fate at the Battle of Waterloo and lost that. He was banished to the island of Elba and died there 6 years later of cancer.